Live and going live. We're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to Kingdom of Honor. This is your host, Zan Manchine Sabuti, along with my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff. And um, we're here to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling again for the third week in a row, which is pretty awesome, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm kind of digging it, especially considering that's what our show is New Japan.
It is.
Since Ring of Honor hasn't been around, maybe when that comes back, we'll get a little more into that again because they were actually starting to turn a corner there. And I was
Yeah, no
really
kidding.
looking forward to Jay White versus Marty Scurll that got canceled.
Yeah, and I was kind of, I'm kind of like looking at their website like every so often just to see like have they announced any new shows, and there's still radio silence from Ring of Honor. So
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were starting to turn the corner, and actually, I mean, it was a rough year. 2019 was for them, but in 2020, when especially after Marty took over booking, they started to really turn a corner and become looked like they were starting to put together some pretty good shows.
yeah, well, I know I was just livid when they canceled those two shows the first weekend of the COVID release struck, and just because I was so much looking forward to the anniversary show. But
Right, right.
you know, that
But
bygones are gone. So,
hey guys,
um, and I go ahead.
welcome to Kingdom of Honor. Hopefully you're listening to us on one of our two live YouTube streams. On our personal one, youtube.com/Kingdom of Honor. That's a good one to go to and hit the like button, subscribe button, ring the notification bell. Also, Lords of Pain. YouTube channel, youtube.com/LOP Calvin. That's another one where you can also hit like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you can get all the live content that's done on these channels every chance that there is one.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to make a programming note before we start digging into this, and that is that we're going to continue until there's like live American broadcasts of the New Japan shows. We're going to continue to be a little bit behind on these. Jeff and I would love to be doing a three man weave again with Imp this coming weekend for Dominion, but we're both kind of the opinion that we don't get a lot out of the shows when we don't have the English commentating going on in it. So unfortunately, we're not going to watch the live version. We'll watch it a couple days later as Kevin Kelly and hopefully somebody else at this point, but maybe not, covers over and talks about the matches and comments them and stuff. So Imp will be up by himself this weekend because he loves doing the Japanese commentary. He loves listening to those guys. Unfortunately, I just can't get into it.
I
That
don't I don't mind listening to those guys and we can really enjoy the shows, but the problem is we can't enjoy them to the fullest, um, you know, to our fullest ability. And if I'm going to watch watch something that I love this much, especially an important show like Dominion, I want to do it when I can enjoy it to my fullest ability. And if I have to wait 2 days to get the English commentary to do so, I'm going to do that.
yeah,
I can avoid spoilers and shit for 2 days while I wait for Kevin Kelly to record it.
yep, absolutely, me too. 'Cause, I'm not really that big on social media anyway, so I can easily just skip it for for that brief amount of time.
Right,
So
exactly.
so that's why we're a bit behind here. So we're going to be talking about some of the second round of the New Japan Cup and a little bit of the quarterfinals. I was able to see one match of the quarterfinals
I
right before
watched all the
we went live.
quarterfinals. Well, I watched all but one match of the quarterfinals. I've still got the Sonata match to go, but I watched the other two or the other three, and goddamn, all three of them were great. And for different reasons. I mean, I still think, and I'm gonna jump right into it. I think Takahashi Ishii is the best match I have seen of this tournament so far.
It was really good. I mean, I still really loved. I mean, it's hard for me to just say like one match is my favorite because I mean I loved so much Okada versus um, Nagata, and I loved so
Yep,
much
that was
Show
good.
versus both of the show matches were just outstanding.
I
So
think his Shingo match might have been a little better than his Sonata match, but both of them were amazing.
yeah, agreed.
Uh,
So I mean, and then but then like you said, and then we both loved, even I mean not for its wrestling, but just for the story behind it. We both loved the Takahashi match against Yano too.
right. Takahashi has been outstanding so far in the three matches he's had, and I love the fact that when I first started watching this match against Ishii, Um, Within the first 5 minutes, I'm messaging you going, "Oh my God, Takahashi's gonna die. He's going to die standing there toe to toe with Ishii or with
Right.
Ishii." I thought for sure he was gonna get destroyed, but it was a cool way to end that match. I love the fact that he pulled out two brand new moves to finally win it. It was just a great match, just an absolute great match.
Yeah, it
Arlo,
was
throw that
for
away.
sure.
Don't.
You know, like I said, I just kind of have a hard time like picking a favorite between them. So
I
um,
don't. I don't at all. That was the
that's cool.
match, and I think a lot of it. You may know. Cool. That I think the fact that it was such a mismatch on paper, and not a mismatch talent-wise, but size-wise, and just I'm not used. I mean, yeah, we saw him in Takahashi against Rio Lee in that slugfest, but that was Rio Lee. That's another junior. To watch him stand toe to toe with a guy like Ishii and to get just destroyed like he was, and still be able to put on a great technical match and pull off the victory and tell the story they did throughout the match, it was impressive. There was
Sure.
so much about it to like.
Yeah, there was, and Ishii is one of those guys that he never gives you a bad performance anytime out
Mm-mm.
there.
And
So
Taka's one of those too. So to get those two together with their mix of styles and um, to see that toughness out of Takahashi, that was insanity. Just absolute insanity. So I'm glad you got to watch that because it was gonna be really tough for me to talk about it without talking about it. I
yeah,
will say this.
yeah, it was great. I mean, and it was weird to see. I mean, not that it was the same match, but it was weird to see like parts of this match that were similar for somebody like Takahashi, to play almost the role of like the wrestler
Right.
a bit, in this match. Not all the way through, but there were definitely spots there that were reminiscent of those great matches.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was. I was really impressed with it. I really, really was. And another thing to note out of this, and you haven't seen his match against Yoshihashi yet, but uh, it, it was prevalent in the first two matches, really prevalent, and then of course you'll see more. You'll see it again in the third match. But it's really nice to see Evil back to being evil, back to being the old Lij asshole, break all the rules, do what you can to win evil. With him taking that low blow against who did he face? I can't even think of it now.
Goto.
Against Goto and win the way he did to kind of take shorthanded attempts against his first round opponent. It's nice to see that evil back again.
It is, but at the same time, I'm kind of over evil. I mean, there was a time where I thought where it looked like he was going to be like the next, if not, a strong Intercontinental champion, at least the next dominant, never openweight champion. And
Yeah,
it's been a while since then, and I've kind of have lost interest in him
well,
over
once
that time.
Lij started turning face, when they started to become fan favorites, they all kind of changed their styles. And it's nice, and maybe it's more the teasing of the breakup because I know they were really heavy into that towards the end of last year about Evil eventually leaving Lij and everything, and maybe they're teasing that again. I don't know, but it's kind of a nice change of pace for his character has gotten stale. And I still say this: he has the best intro music in wrestling today.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd have to really think about that. But um,
I can't think of another one that the second I hear it, kind of like you were with Roderick Strong from
mhm.
2011. I can't think of another intro where I hear the opening bars and those opening, not really gong tones, but they're more like pounding on a railroad spike type of thing. And as soon as I hear that, I'm immediately fired up, just because I know what I'm going to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I really do enjoy Judas too, but the thing is that with that is that it's not really like a wrestling theme. I mean, it is, but it was already a single. I heard it for 800 times on Sirius.
Right, and now with them overdoing it with the singing and everything, singing along with it, it's gotten kind of stale.
Yeah,
It doesn't have the same energy that it used to.
no, not at all. Um, What else was I going to
And
say? Oh,
and Kenny
yeah.
kind of
I guess that I guess the thing with Evil is I mean, it's it's weird for me that he beat Goto just because first of all they feel like the same guy,
right,
and sec-
exactly.
and secondly they're both they really are really like more like gatekeepers. So so for them both to get to the quarterfinals is a little bit, or one of the two to get to the quarterfinals is to me a little bit I don't know, like disingenuous in a way because there's just no way either one of them is going to advance past that.
Yeah, and that's true. At the same point, I don't know, if
Oh
we're
wait, no. Oh wait, no. Whoever wins that no. One of those guys is facing Yoshihashi, aren't they? So they're going to make it to the semis, but they're not going to make it to the finals.
yeah,
I can't imagine Yoshihashi is going to make it to the final to the semis.
not after his injury.
Well, even so, even without that,
Right, exactly. That was he's another guy that I was surprised made it out of the first round. There were a handful of guys that surprised me they made it out of the first round, and he was one of them.
yeah.
And to have Taichi make it through the second round, that really kind of bummed me out. Just because I know that they can't really have Coda because I mean let's face it, I still feel um, and now even more so after watching this match that it's Takahashi's tournament, that they're going to get him because they keep playing on the fact that he had his one-on-one against Naito that was canceled, and how he lost out on his opportunity, and he keeps pulling upset after upset after upset. I can't see anyone else, even and I don't know the rest of the bracket. I don't know what's going on outside of the Evil Yoshihashi match. I don't really know who has gotten into the semis, but I can't see anyone really beating Takahashi with how great he's been.
See, I really wanted to be Sonata.
I would,
I really want a Sonata Naito match, and that would free up Taka. And because if you think about it, if Takahashi wins, we've got three titles tied up on the biggest show of the year in one match.
right, exactly, and that's what I was thinking. But that makes sense why Kota Ibushi, lost when he did because he's going to have to defend the tag team titles, and then you've got Shingo who will probably defend the Never, and maybe he'll pull double duty and defend the three-way too. The one question I have is um why is Bushi holding two belts?
He's never openweight champion, never openweight six-man champion.
Right, but why is he holding two belts?
Is he holding two?
Um,
I guess I'm paying that close attention to
well,
him.
they had a six-man tag after the uh, Evil Yoshihashi match, and he came out holding two belts. Then Shingo came out holding two belts, obviously, because he's one half of the, or he's one third of the six man, and he's also the Never. And then uh, Naito came out holding two belts, obviously for his reasons too. Um, but the only thing I can think is that maybe Shingo or Bushi didn't want to look like the only chump with one belt, so he took Evil's belt too.
Well, Sonata's only got one belt. No, Sonata doesn't have any belts. He's the only one in NYJ doesn't have any belts.
Yeah.
Um, who are the junior heavyweight tag champs right now?
Um, I have no clue.
I don't either.
I thought it was Roppongi 3K.
But they haven't been coming out with belts. They weren't coming out with belts for their singles matches.
Well, Evil hasn't been coming out with one either.
Yeah, but there's a difference between tag titles and six-man tag titles.
Well, tell that to Bushi and Shingo, who carried theirs everywhere they went.
Yeah, I suppose.
NJPW Junior Tag Team Championship.
I'm trying to look on the website right now to see. So you usually have the champions listed on their website, but I don't see that right now.
Yeah, it's listed four-time current champions Roppongi 3K.
Oh, okay.
And
So
that's
you're
what I
right.
thought. I was pretty sure they beat, because they were the ones that beat uh, Ishimori and, why can't I think of his name?
Phantasmo.
Yeah, El Phantasmo, yeah.
The weird thing is that with all this COVID thing, Wrestle Kingdom, even though it was back in January, feels like it was 2 years ago. You know, it
It
feels like a
really
long
does,
time
doesn't
ago.
it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Oh, there we
Wow.
go. I found it. It's under profile. So yeah. Okay.
I found it by just searching Wikipedia. They're
I know,
usually
but
pretty
but I
good.
knew they had it on the website somewhere. And I couldn't find it. But now I found it. So
Yeah, they won at the Tokyo Dome against Bullet Club.
yeah. So I mean, I realized that the winner of the New Japan Cup is supposed to wrestle for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But I think it'd be really cool if Sonata were to say, I just want to wrestle for the Intercontinental Championship, and then he wins it, and now every member of Lij has a championship.
Well, they've got to do something to get those belts separated again.
Yeah.
And right now, when he's defending both belts at every match, it's just not cutting it. They've got to have some challenger. That's why I was thinking Kenta, when he challenged him for it, he should have been able to challenge him only for the Intercontinental belt, not both belts.
Yeah, and I really don't want Taichi to be the guy to do it. I really do not want
Oh
Taichi to be
God, I
Intercontinental
hope
Champion.
not. Yeah, that
That
no.
that's just gross. And Taichi's put together some decent matches the last year or so, but I just can't stomach seeing him with one of the two top belts.
I didn't realize that Gato and Jado held the junior tag belts for 960 combined days. They're the longest reigning champions.
Yeah, and they're the longest reigning total, and they're also the longest reigning in one shot champions.
Yeah, and they only held it 4 times. The Bucks had it 7 times for 706 days.
Yeah,
Apollo 55 had it 4 times for 673 days.
whoever that is.
Devitt and Taguchi.
Oh, okay.
And then Roppongi 3K has had it 4 times for 409 days.
Yeah, but a lot of those days are since Wrestle Kingdom this year. You know.
Holy shit, Suzuki-gun, Desperado, and Kanemaru held it for 304 days
Yep. You didn't realize? You
in
didn't
w-
remember that?
in one reign. No, I didn't realize that they had it that long.
Yeah, they're the second longest reigning with that title after Gato and Jado.
That's amazing. I guess I just never realized it. I also never realized the Red Dragon held the belts either. They held
They
it
sure did.
twice,
Yep.
and so did Motor City Machine Guns. The No Remorse Corps did it too.
Why are you scrolling through the history of the title?
Davey Richards and Rocky Romero. I don't know, it just happened to be on
Good,
the
good
page.
answer. Good answer.
Davey Richards and Rocky Romero had it for 2 times, 166 days. I just happened to be on the Wikipedia page and it was right there, so I figured, what the hell? I'll scroll through it.
Yeah. I was watching these shows Sonata match. You've been like really into Show and Yo for a long time, and then I started kind of, and I was just kind of like, I didn't dislike them. I liked them. I just wasn't on the same bandwagon you were, and I became like simmered down on it. And then they had such great tag matches that I started really warming up to them. But watching Show against Shingo and then watching him against Sonata, I look at that guy and I'm like, God damn, I wish he was taller.
Yeah, he
Because I really feel like he is going to be if he, he's already to that level where I'm excited to see him against anybody. Where he's going to be one of my favorite performers on the planet.
right.
But I just don't know. If he was like, I feel like he's like 3 or 4 inches too short for it to be given serious consideration as a top champion in IW in New Japan, which really is sad. But I mean, I really feel that way. Like, you know, he's so much shorter than even Naito is, and it just feels like he's going to end up kind of in a weird spot where he might be. He might get some intercontinental title shots. He might be never open weight champion, and but he's too big really to. I mean, it feels like he also like have a Kushida like career and be like a long time top level wrestler in the juniors. And goddamn, I hope that we get Takahashi versus Sho for the junior heavyweight title at one of these upcoming Wrestle Kingdoms. But um, it just feels like he's going to get stuck in limbo where he's too good to be a junior, and he's not. Um, he doesn't have like all the pieces needed to be the top guy in the heavies.
Well, if you think about it, wasn't Shibata much like that too?
No, Shibata was tall and lanky.
Was he? I thought he was shorter.
Well, I'll look that up while you're talking.
Oh, I'm looking it up too, but
No, you
um,
no, you talk.
he's only 6 foot, so I guess he's not super short, but I guess he is huge, 227 pounds,
Yeah,
6 feet tall. Um, but I felt that Shibata was the first guy that I actually had that like really odd connection to. Like there was nothing overly flashy about him. There was nothing. He was just a tough son of a bitch who knew how to wrestle, and his charisma was natural. It wasn't forced.
I'm
Or
sorry. Shibata you're talking about?
Shibata.
Okay.
And I get that
And
same.
and and Show is 4 inches shorter than Shibata. So like I said, 3 or 4. If he had 3 or 4 more inches.
Well, I get the. I mean, I feel the same way about Show that I did about Shibata,
Hmm.
where he's not overly flashy. He's not. I mean, even in Roppongi 3K, he's more the muscle guy. His move set isn't over the top flashy. It's just a lot of power moves. Kind of like Shibata. He's a hell of a wrestler, and he just has that natural charisma where it's not that over the top like Jericho or a Toro Yano type charisma, but it's a charisma that just when you look at him like a lead singer of a band, they just command your respect just by standing there. And that's kind of the same feeling I get with Show that I have with Shibata.
I can understand that. I do think Show has a little bit of flashiness to him, but yeah, like you said, he's not like Yo is. I
Yeah.
mean, when I look at Yo, it used to be like I would watch those guys and I'd be like, I actually like Yo a little bit better than Show. Um, but and maybe it's just because Show's gotten the spotlight that I don't feel that way at this exact moment. But I feel like Yo could have a great career as like um, I don't know, like a dirty heel um, on the in the cruiser, in the juniors.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got the frame to add on the muscle that Show has. Um, so in that sense, I think there's a chance that even though Show is quite likely the more talented of the two, that Yo might end up having a better career just because he might have a spot that he can kind of nail down where I think Show's going to be floating back and forth for a lot of his career.
You know who that reminds me of?
Who's that?
Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. You know, Show is the more talented of the two, like a Davey Richards,
Mm-hmm.
but Yo is the one that will have that ultimate connection with the crowd, like Eddie Edwards.
Well, I don't even know if it's a connection with the crowd as much as it is. I think that
Just that connection in general. I guess maybe, not necessarily with the crowd, but just that, connection in general.
yeah,
That for some reason, Davey, as great as Davey was, and Davey had his connection with the crowd, and Davey was, the better technical of the two, and so on. But Eddie Edwards was the guy that just drew everybody's eyeballs. And it's kind of the same maybe with Show and Yo, is that Show is the the guy who's ultimately probably going to be yours and my favorite out of the two, but might not be the guy that actually catches on with everybody.
yeah. I do think Yo has more of a personality than Show does too.
Yeah,
You know, I,
exactly.
I you know he's got kind of got that little wink and smirk to him, and so that's why I think he can be so good as a heel. Is he's got that that little bit of verb to him.
Right.
Whereas Show just seems like a straightforward ass kicker. You
I
know.
didn't realize, when I was watching the Okada Ishimori match, I knew there was a huge size difference. I didn't realize how much until I just looked up the fact that Taiji Ishimori is only 5'4".
Okay.
I never realized he was that short.
What's Okada 6'2"?
6'4".
Okay. Yeah, he's pretty big, isn't he?
Yeah, there, and it's noticeable when you see these two in the ring together. It's like scary noticeable.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it was a really good match too. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure when I'm not sure. I still haven't finished watching Dynamite from last week, so I don't know when I'm going to get to this NJPW stuff.
it's the nice thing is
Maybe
that
Thursday and Friday I'll watch it.
well, the nice thing is that they're not. now you're not trying to watch 16 matches, you're only watching four.
Well,
And
yeah, it's a
you're
total, well, a
watching
total of six.
a
Yeah.
total of six, yeah. So
And
it's
as you, I'm just kind of skipping past those six and
six-man
eight man
tags.
tags. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I kind of cheated in the first and second round is I didn't watch every single one of the matches. I watched the ones that I thought were going to be good matches. I didn't start watching literally like normally I probably would have skipped over the Evil Yoshihashi match, but because there were only four or six matches left, I figured what the hell, I'll watch it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying, and it's kind of like a couple of years ago, like because the way my schedule worked out, and and it was the first year I hadn't been working two jobs in a dozen years. I could actually sit down and watch like every match of the G1 climax.
Yeah, the G1's going to be a little bit different. Like I probably will watch every match of the G1. Wow, Okada's wife is cute.
I didn't know Okada was married.
I didn't either until just now.
Of course, I didn't know until like 2 weeks ago that, or no, I think it was last week that Tessa Blanchard was married, and I wish I didn't know still.
Yeah, I'm
So.
still shaking about that. It's
Well, and you were like so into her, so it's like
gave me 3 days worth of nightmares. It's like, are you
I
kidding me? I
I
could
know.
have
I
actually
mean, you were
had
you were like
that.
literally in love with her for like a year, for like a year, and
Oh
then
yeah.
a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was,
And then
and
I
some guy that you're even better looking than could.
I hear the word Daga and I'm just like now I'm just in like convulsions thinking about how awful that's got to be. Anyway, um, I'm like I said, I'm glad NJPW is back. I'm glad they've given us this tournament. I'm glad that they announced that they're still going to be doing the G1, and they're basically going straight from this to the G1. And the
Oh, are
G1,
they at Red Dominion?
yeah, the G1's in October. It got pushed back to I want to say October.
Yeah,
So
it did because of the Olympics. Yep.
World Tag League got bumped for this year, but that's fine. That was never one of my favorite.
Completely bumped.
From the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like
Oh,
it's on the
interesting.
schedule.
Okay. Okay, well
Um,
that's yeah. I'm not care that much either, but I just thought instead of doing like a G1 type tournament, they could do like a New Japan type tournament with it.
yeah,
So.
it would be better considering they really are lacking on tag teams.
Hmm.
I mean, even if this COVID stuff does clear up and they can bring in the ROH tag teams and the CMLL tag teams, they're still really lacking on tag teams in NJPW.
One thing I do want to mention too, and I know we're going to do like a quite short show tonight, just so you can get to your kid. But I don't know if you noticed yet, but there's a show called Lions Break Collision that's been added to NJPW World as well, which is some matches that were taped in empty arenas in the United States.
Yeah, didn't they
Um,
have the
and
first
and
episode of that on the 4th?
They did, and
Okay, I
and
saw that, but I wasn't.
I think there's a total of 8 matches, and I think they're going to a total of 4 episodes with 2 matches each. But what I really wanted to mention about it is that one of those matches is going to be featuring a guy that you and I are very familiar with, making his NJPW debut,
Ooh,
and that is one filthy Tom Lawler.
really?
Really.
Is he not with MLW anymore?
I don't know if I don't know about that, or if it was just kind of like, we're not filming things right now. We'll give you a chance to, um, we'll give you a chance to just wrestle these MP arena matches. So, because there was some, there was some like discussion about like, well, is Tom's match actually going to air on the network? But I think it actually is going to. So,
Oh, wow. That's actually, I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, me too. I don't know. I don't know exactly who he wrestled, but I do know that he had at least one match in that on that show. So
Okay, it says World Heavyweight Champion 2019 to present. So
what's
I
that?
don't know if it just, no, okay, he lost on November 22nd, 2019. It was announced that he signed a new multi-year exclusive agreement with MLW.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's still under contract with MLW.
Yeah,
and
he is.
supposedly exclusive.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna, if he calls you up and says, "Hey, we're not running any shows. I have the opportunity to make a little bit of money wrestling a match for New Japan here in the States. I don't have to travel anywhere. It's an empty arena. Do you mind?" Do you think MLW is gonna say no? You can't do it.
Yeah,
I
because they have exclusive rights, and if he gets injured in an NJPW ring and loses his career, they lose their assets. So there had to have been June 22nd, 2020, former MLW World Heavyweight Champion is set to debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, okay, well, if we open the door and let Tom wrestle for them, maybe it's a step towards getting a working agreement with the second biggest company in the world.
and that's what they
You know,
said. That's what they say here. Tom Lawler will be representing Major League Wrestling in NJPW in the months ahead.
there you go.
So it's going to be a working agreement with MLW.
Yeah, isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah,
So
that actually is because maybe we'll get Alexander Hammerstone, get to watch some of him again, the guy that we couldn't remember last night. Or was it last week? We were talking about MLW and bringing Richard Holiday over.
I ca- I yeah, I think it was last week on Dynamite After Dark we were talking about it. But yeah,
Mr. Alexander Hammerstone, who I still think is one of the best, who's got all five tools.
he does. I just I just wish he was a little bit younger than he is.
Yeah,
You know,
true, true.
you know,
Um,
but yeah, I mean, he has all the tools to be a breakout star. So. Anything
so,
else for this week's episode?
well, not for this, but I did say that we'd do at least one Mount Rushmore. So I wouldn't mind running through maybe a quick one of those.
Okay. What do you
Uh,
want to do?
um, I've been trying to think about it, but I was thinking one thing we did tag teams. We did basically wrestlers of the decades. Did we ever do announcing teams or did we do managers yet?
I don't think we done. No, we have not done either one of them yet. No.
Huh, you want to do managers all time and then managers of each decade or
I don't think I could do managers by decade, but I can definitely do all time.
I
So
mean all time it's pretty cut and dry for me. I think you got to go Heenan. I would say probably J.J. Dillon. Um, God, outside of that, okay, it gets a little bit rough right there because I don't remember too many managers. Paul Bearer would probably have to be up there.
I'm trying to think who I would. I'm trying to think of myself who I would include in there. Yeah, being managers is tough too.
I mean, because really once you started getting into the 2000s, manager, well, I mean, you had Scott D'Amore, you had uh, uh, dude from TNA, Abyss's manager, James Mitchell,
Oh yeah, he
who
was good.
was, and he was, he had a presence in WCW too. So it's not like he was a one-trick TNA pony. Um, Scott D'Amore for his what he was, he as coach of Team Canada was pretty solid too. But I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd say best, one of the best ever. I mean, Bobby Heenan by far. There's nobody better. The Heenan family in the 80s and in WWF. I don't know that there's anyone that could compare to Bobby Heenan.
No, there's not. Bobby Heenan is the all-time great. I mean, if there was truly a Mount Rushmore of managers, if we really wanted to be honest, it would be just like one huge mountain with Bobby Heenan's face on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
to be honest, I mean, you got to have Jimmy Hart in there maybe somewhere.
I
Um,
I would not have Jimmy Hart in
you
there.
wouldn't?
I would not.
I thought Jimmy Hart brought a lot, especially with the different characters. I mean, a lot of what he did with Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation, and then when he went to WCW with the Legion of Doom. Was it Legion of Doom? What the hell were they? No, they weren't Legion of Doom. What were they?
Who are you talking about?
Kevin Sullivan's group,
Oh, the Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom. Yeah, I mean, he definitely had his place in history.
I suppose that's probably true, but I mean, I guess you could even say he managed Hulk Hogan to his first few WCW world titles too.
Yeah, he did.
Um, yeah, Bobby Heenan's up there for me. One guy that I think that you probably would have mention if you thought about it for like an hour is Paulie Dangerously. The
Oh,
Dangerous
yeah.
Alliance was fantastic. He
And
was
then
great managing Taz, Sabu, and Rob Van Dam. Or no, that was not him. That was
that was
never mind. So
yeah.
that was Bill Alfonso. So I'm gonna put him in there too because I loved his
Well,
work at ECW.
but
Um,
Heyman did manage Sabu.
yeah, I guess
And
he did for a while.
who else was in that? Wasn't Shane Douglas part of his little stable there too in the early days of ECW?
I don't remember
Or was
him
Shane just
being
kind of
managed
off
by.
on his own?
I think Shane was just kind of off as he always had like he had Woman for a while, and then he had Francine.
Okay.
He really and speaking of women managers, I'm gonna you said last night that you thought that Randy Savage being managed by Sensational Sherry was a mistake, but I'm gonna say Sensational Sherry deserves to be recognized here. She was a great manager for Savage. She was a great manager for Shawn Michaels, and then she was also a great manager for Ric Flair, and then Harlem Heat later on. So I'm going to say Sensational Sherry deserves to be in that top four
You
too.
can't
So th- so
forget, you
this
can't.
so that's what I've got there. I've got Bobby Heenan, I've got Paulie Dangerously, I've got Sensational Sherry, and I've got Bill Alfonso.
See, I'm gonna go Paul Heyman, or I definitely got to go Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, just because not just was he, a great manager in ECW and WCW, but he was also, an advocate, which is basically the new way of saying manager, um, in WWF for many different people, but especially Brock Lesnar. So Paulie's going to be up there and Bobby Heenan. Um,
Yeah, you know what? Let's. I don't want to shortchange this real quick here. So if we're talking about him in WWE, I also want to say that unfortunately, having Paul E. Dangerously or Paul Heyman as his manager killed Cesaro. So,
no, absolutely, and I
so
don't think it did much for uh, oh God, I can't think of his name. Um, Axel, Curtis Axel.
oh
Wow,
yeah,
I'm
that's true.
having real
Yeah,
memory issues today. But
but yeah, it was definitely great for both Lesnar and CM Punk, no question.
no,
So
absolutely. So I mean, Paulie has got to be up there along with Heenan as one and two. After that, it's kind of, I guess it just depends on your taste. I really like J.J. Dillon with the Horsemen. I thought he was a great manager for his time there.
I think he's just a boring bag of socks personally, but.
Yeah, he became that when he became whatever he was with WCW later on, but I enjoyed him in his early days with the Horsemen. Um, I also really enjoyed Jimmy Hart. When we talked about him, I think on the women's side, it's tough to beat Sherry. Very, very tough to beat Sherry, but I got to give a nod to Terry Runnels too. I thought Terry was really phenomenal in the, mid to late 90s with her little runs that she had with different tag teams and of course her husband Dustin and uh, all them. And then of course Meat. Meat was another one of her standout. I'm just looking at her actual performance as a manager, not who she managed. I'm trying to think of who else. Paul Bearer had some really good runs in the early to mid 90s. He
Yeah,
would be
I just
another
never felt he
one.
did that. I just never felt like Paul Heyman did that much. I mean, not Paul Heyman, but Paul Bearer did that much.
But the difference was with all those managers is outside of Heyman and Bobby Heenan, were there really ever managers that outshone their talent?
I'm not saying outshone, but I'm just like for the most part, Paul Bearer like stood there with an urn and he would like lift it up to Undertaker. That's pretty much all he ever did.
You
You
know
know.
who we're forgetting? He had a very short but very memorable run. The Doctor of Style, Slick.
Oh come, Slick is almost as bad as Fuji.
Oh, come on. At least Slick was entertaining. Fuji was kind of the guy that just stood there and then threw salt in people's eyes.
Usually through his own eyes actually.
Yeah, that is true. Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Um, God, I can't think of really anybody else. I know I brought up the managers, but there's nobody that stands as high as Heyman and Heenan. I mean, Heenan by far above and beyond, and then Heyman kind of a distant second. But outside of that, it's just a pick 'em, really.
Yeah, it is. And
I
one other guy that that we haven't not mentioned, but he had runs in WCW, the WWF, and now in MLW, and that's Colonel Robert Parker.
oh yeah, yeah, Jesus, his original stud stable and then his stud stable in MLW. I mean, the original stud stable was amazing.
Yep.
Oh God, and he had a good 30-year run too. You know,
Yeah, something like that.
I think we'd have to put I would have to put Colonel Parker up there as my number three. And then I know you disagree, but he had such great colorful talent and he actually was able to get something out of that talent. I got to go Jimmy Hart. Do you really think the Honky Tonk Man would have ever had a career had it not been for Jimmy Hart by his side?
No, I mean, I guess I just think like he was in the same era as Bobby Heenan, and he now showed him all the time. So
Yeah, and I mean, he was clearly the number two, but he was the number two to the greatest of all time. That's like saying The Rock, is nothing because he was in the same era as Steve Austin. It's not
yeah,
had
you have a point there, but at the
had
same
Bobby
time,
Heenan not been there, Jimmy Hart would have been head and shoulders the best manager of the era.
yeah, at the same time though, I mean, how many more great managers would there be right now if the era of the manager had not ended for whatever reason? I mean, there's still guys out there that would managers would work great as mouthpieces for that just they just don't happen anymore.
Right, and I mean they do occasionally they pop up here and there, but then they quickly become an authority figure or a part-time wrestler.
Yeah,
It's the same thing with valets. I mean, valets were considered managers at one time. Then you get people like Lana who you think is just going to be a valet, and next thing you know, she's in wrestling matches.
yeah,
And Alexa Bliss was another one. She originally was just a valet in NXT, and then next thing you know, she's an actual wrestler. So it's sad that that era ended because I think there was a place for it. There was always those wrestlers like Hercules or, the Hart Foundation in the early days who could not talk a lick, but they needed that manager to be their mouthpiece. And there's still guys like that. There's still guys like that that could really use a mouthpiece.
yeah. I mean, we look at the guys that are being used um in AEW right now, like I don't think that Lance Archer needs a mouthpiece.
No, I
You know,
don't
I
either. I
I
don't
don't
either.
think Cody needs a mouthpiece. It just it feels like I think Tully Blanchard works well for Sean Spears. But I mean I think really like these old time wrestlers that they have as managers could be deployed with other people and they would do a lot more good for other talent than
You
what we're
know,
currently seeing.
somebody that we did not mention and almost feel like I personally completely overlooked him simply because of his wrestling,
Who's that?
Gato.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about it. Over the last, what, 8 years, he's technically been a manager. He just occasionally gets in the ring. But, he managed Okada for years, then Jay White, and, Bullet Club, and he's really been that Bobby Heenan-esque manager in New Japan, and he's had quite a long run doing it.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit difficult for us as American wrestling fans to really appreciate, um, Japanese managers simply because we can't really see like, we don't have the same, we don't know like, our, their antics or what they're saying, and because half the thing with Bobby Heenan
Was his
was
mouth.
it was his mouth,
Yeah.
and Gato, is probably the same way, but yeah, I mean he's great as a manager, no question, especially with Jay White.
If you look at his antics, just his antics, not even his words, but just his antics over the last, I would say, 6 years, God, he might be in there too. I think I might take Colonel Parker out and put him in there because Colonel Parker was great and managed a lot, but Parker was never really more than just a guy standing there being a mouthpiece. As far as and considering he was a heel for 90% of his career, the fact that he never really got involved and never really made, an effort like a Heenan or a Jimmy Hart or somebody like that would, I got to give that edge to Gato. So my four are going to be Heenan, Heyman, Gato, and Jimmy Hart.
Okay, sounds good to me. And I've still got Heenan, Heyman, Sensational Sherry, and Bill Alfonso.
Yeah, and Sherry's a tough one to deny.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. And Bill Alfonso, I guess I just didn't see enough of him to really love him that much.
Well,
I know he was always that annoying guy with the whistle.
yeah.
That's what I know about him. So
And that was entertaining as hell to me. So,
well,
yeah.
yeah, it was just annoying to me. But all right. So yeah, I guess that's all we got. So guys, make sure you check out our Patreon. I'm not going to get this one up today, but it is live on YouTube. So of course, let's do the YouTube first. If you're listening, hit the like button, subscribe button, ring the notification bell. We really do appreciate it. Then head over to, and that's youtube.com/Kingdom of Honor. And then head over to the LOP youtube.com/LOP Calvin. Do the same thing, like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and then, vice versa to the other one. Patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. That is where you're going to find our archives, which go back all the way to 2015, as well as some exclusive stuff. Every audio version that we do of any show ends up on there at some point, including some exclusive shows that we have been doing recently, one last night, for example, which was our Deserted Island series of Macho Man Randy Savage. Kind of a look back at his career, quick little retrospect, and then a rundown of our top four matches that we would want if we were on a deserted island. So that's patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. You can access those tiers by making a small donation to us, which again, we really appreciate because it helps us keep doing this stuff that we're doing. And then, of course, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Regi Co-op. He is at ZanmanLOD. Use the hashtag
LOP.
KOLOP. Ah, jeez, I need a nap. At, at ZanmanLOP. And use the hashtag DAD and the hashtag KOH for everything. That's what we do. So,
Yep, and stay tuned tomorrow night for us here with Dynamite After Dark, as is the second half of Fighter Fest. And then on Thursday is LOP Radio Adventure. On And then this weekend will be WWF The Legacy Series, and also Imp will be doing the Aftershock show, as we talked about earlier, um, for Dominion this coming weekend. And then we'll be back with you next with Kingdom of Honor with more New Japan Cup for the quarterfinals and the semis. And that's all we've got. We'll try to do better next time. This is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
goodbye.